Hi, and welcome to another episode of I Want a Participation Medal
In
in
5D.
5D.
Do you
Also,
really win a participation medal?
yeah, I guess the best way to say that is earn, but I
I think you achieved a participation medal.
I achieved the participation medal. I can't even say it. My high school counselor would be proud because she said I would
Yay.
never achieve anything.
That
So
bitch.
yeah, no, I actually did participate. I ran the whole 5K. Well, I ran slash walked the whole 5K. Um, if it's any consolation, I was dressed like Batman and my wife was dressed like Robin.
And nobody had to dangle a hot dog in front of him on a stick. He did
Nobody
it all by
had
himself.
to.
But they still did.
Actually, funny story. That this is what went down. A little IRL for our viewers.
Ooh.
Um, we were late. Apparently, you start off at a certain time, and when they say, "Hey, the race starts at this time," they mean it. Um, Not our fault. We went to drop off our dogs at the place that takes care of them, and apparently somebody dropped off an untouched male is the most polite way to say that. And homie tried to touch a lot of the other dogs. Let's just put it that way. Uh,
So he's
um,
classy.
so as we were dropping off, we are super late. So here I am, speed walking in full Batman costume to the starting line, and I'm slightly less than a quarter mile from the starting line when I see our group of runners in running in the opposite direction, and I'm like, "What happens when you're late?" And so as we start getting closer, like we're speed walking trying to get closer. The announcer announces and says, "If you're late, run to the arch." So all plans of like setting up my headphones to like get into the groove, all plans of strategically placing all my stuff in a storage or a bag or any of that went right out the fucking window. I run to the arch. I get to the arch. They go, "Okay, now turn around and run the other way. You just started the timing on the race." So both me and my wife have already run there. So we ended up doing slightly more than a 5K. But then we have to go catch up to our group because, like, come on, we're dressed as superheroes. We can't be the last people in this goddamn group. So we're finally like we're going, and we finally end up passing people. And at one point we pass a lady that was dressed like a chicken. And I'm mind you, I've had edibles because it's the only way I can work out. I'm in pain even though I've had edibles, and there's a lady dressed like a chicken. So this is where my mind immediately goes. I just go and I think really hard. We gotta beat this fucking chicken. And then
As long as you didn't choke that chicken.
oh no. And then like 20 minutes later, my wife says it out loud because this lady has kind of kept up with us. We were doing interval running, and this lady's kept up with us, and she's like, "Do you want to run again? We got to beat that fucking chicken." And I lose it. I breathe wrong, saliva goes down the wrong tube, and I am just dying. I later found out she was dressed as a rooster because,
She had a dick.
well, I mean, or wanted one. Ah. No, she was dressed like the cornflakes person because there were other characters throughout this marathon. Somebody was dressed like Tony the Tiger.
Isn't that
Somebody,
chicken green?
no, I think I'm pretty sure it's not green. It's white with a red wazzle. What are they
No,
called?
it's green.
Really?
I'm looking at it.
The Kellogg's
The
cornflakes?
Kellogg's Cornflakes chicken is green.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Well, that's weird.
Cornelius Corny Rooster.
Okay. Well, it was a lady in a chicken in a white chicken suit holding a box of cornflakes, handing candy out.
So what I'm hearing is there was a lady who did her costume wrong.
Well, no, there was a whole group of people because
But were they all wrong too?
one guy was dressed like Tigger, except he had a box of frosted flakes.
Okay, so they were all just wrong.
So it was just like, I think it might have been an impromptu group costume. Don't judge them, you son of a bitch. The point
Judging
was,
them.
we
I'm
beat that
judging
chicken. That was
Chicken
all.
choked.
chicken choked it. Yeah, that's what I did on my Halloween. I dressed up like a fat superhero and ran a 5K. And after that, like, I'm in a lot of pain right now, but all day yesterday, I'm wearing it now for the YouTube viewers. Like, yeah, check that motherfucker
He hasn't
out.
taken it off.
Yeah.
He has not taken that off.
I put myself through that. I don't know why. I don't even like running. I just thought, hey, I should probably run a 5K because I'm trying to run a marathon. I think I need to start somewhere. No, hated it. That's my new.
So you hated that
hashtag.
so much. What are you gonna do? Oh, well, that spiked up really loud. I'm sorry. What are you gonna do when you actually get to the marathon bit? If this was bad, marathon is worse.
So like I said, baby steps. I was on 50 milligrams.
You're just gonna take more drugs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The view was amazing. We got to run by the lake, with the snow in the mountains as a backdrop. It was a great view, but why? It sucks. It's my new hashtag. I want people to start using it. Went outside, hated it.
It's not a bad one. It's true.
You heard it here first. But anyways, I've also done a bunch of shit inside this weekend. Halloween themed, just like costumes.
Again, if this is another story about you choking chicken?
I mean, it was in my pozole.
Yeah, that can still be taken two ways.
I know, isn't it?
One of them's
Yeah,
a crime.
I love it. One of them's a crime. Not in Mexico. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I'm just lying.
Probably not.
But anyways, okay. So no more ado. I was supposed to talk about this last podcast. I fucking didn't because I didn't finish the movie. I was missing like the last half hour, apparently.
Yeah, he's a big piece of shit.
And it kind of mattered, but it kind of didn't. All right. It's okay.
I don't know exactly where you left off, but I will say there is a twist that comes towards the end that absolutely does matter.
Yes. Well, but it doesn't.
How?
Because the misdirect came before the twist, but the misdirect was kind of the same thing as the twist.
I disagree. Go on, do your review and we'll get to the end when we get to the end.
Yes. Okay. It was a solid movie. Great acting. But the twist wasn't as much of a twist as I thought it was gonna be, or because I felt that first like haha kind of softened the blow. That's my opinion. But I'd give this movie a solid. I'd give this a solid 4.5 out of 5.
I love the main actor who also wrote and directed it.
Mm-hmm. So credit.
He was great. Ricky Lindholm, always fantastic. She plays the was she deputy? I don't know the ranks very well, but she was she was his right hand.
Sheriff, and everyone else is a deputy.
Okay, yeah. So she was kind of his right hand, kind of his rock through a lot of it. And did in a very not comedic role, which she's done before, but not all the time, and it's always good to see her in non-comedic roles because she's great at it. But for the ending twist, man, I gotta go totally different than you. I'm trying to think of a good way to do this without it just being a giant spoiler. Yeah, because you really should see the movie, and you really shouldn't have the ending spoiled.
That's why you saw me like tiptoeing around.
Yep. I would say the twist matters because the first twist or whatever, the first reveal to me, even though it is built up, it still feels incorrect.
Yes.
Even though there's all these things that literally don't allude to, but damn near point directly at this, it still just doesn't feel right And so stopping a half hour before the end, before the twist and our big reveal, which then makes you go like, oh shit. I thought it carried a lot of impact, and I like that it wasn't a twist of like, here's a concept. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It was more like, here's a concept, and then here's more here's a concept. That wasn't quite right.
Yeah. Okay, let me dissect this for a little bit because
this is such a bad review because we're trying so hard not to
spoil it. Yeah,
this is such a bad review.
So I will talk about the movie, the pacing. Then that's the best way to not spoil this. So
yeah, okay,
the reason that the first reveal felt so wrong is because, and maybe this was done purposely, and credit to it, was because the pacing was coming to a climax of sort, and you didn't get one because the payoff wasn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
And that's fair.
But and you would have bought it with the way this film works. A kind of like dud fire payoff would have figured. It would have played into exactly what the main character wanted. It's what he was insisting the whole time was, no, it's just going to be something like this. And then it was. Yeah. And so you kind of go like, oh man, like movie, big reveal kind of thing. And he just got to be right. And that's why I felt like it could have ended there. It could the movie wouldn't be as good. Don't get me wrong. The movie would not be nearly as good, but it would, like, you wouldn't walk away going like, oh man, that end didn't make sense or it didn't fit. You would have just gone, it's a little weak.
Exactly. Well, but for me, the director and the writer had done such a good job so far that it was like, there's no possible way this is it. It's unfortunately in that moment it felt a little formulaic because, oh, the hero's dead. No, just kidding. No, he's not. That's not the spoiler here. I'm using that as a thematic framing device. I just want to say that out loud. Right? Like,
right.
That's where I felt like, I'm like, no, there's more. Okay, let's see where we go. But anyways, it's still a solid movie, solid 4.5, which is really high for horror movies for me. Cause usually, I mean, I guess this is more of a thriller horror.
Yeah, horror thriller, right in there, because you do have some like really intense, murder scenes or whatever you want to call them.
That's true,
and that's a staple of the horror genre.
Yeah, so for me that it's a high rating for horror because horror usually doesn't have solid stories. I like the story, I like the character development. I think it is a solid piece.
I will definitely watch anything else done by this guy now as well. Like he's earned, even something that I'm like, I don't know about this movie, but that guy did it. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I used to feel of was it Blomkamp?
Oh, yeah, Blomkamp.
I forget how to say it. I apologize. That wasn't
Neil. It's called Neil.
Yep, Neil.
Good old Neil.
Good old our buddy Neil. He hangs out with Bieber. They both listen to us. Yeah, no. I used to have faith in his movie just because he made them, and I quickly lost that.
Which one did it for you?
Some of the shorts. I
don't. You can't really judge people because shorts are supposed to be experimental. The Oath Studios shorts.
Yeah, it just
thematically. I mean, like that's the nature of shorts.
Like he was a one-trick pony.
I don't know, but I don't know. I really liked Chappie, which a lot of people didn't like. I really liked Elysium. Love District 9. Not sure how I feel about them doing District 10, but I mean, cool, I guess. I'll try it.
I've always wanted more. I want to know more of the alien species. I understand that the first movie wasn't about that, but now that they've shown me that, I want to see how the dynamic changes on Earth when there's more interaction with the alien species. Like, is there hope? Does humanity change their ways now that we understand more, that we're faced with the reality of what's actually happening? Like, I do want to know more. I want to see what his vision would be in this case. Because, like, Elysium, while we're going into the whole Neil thing, Elysium is also a grim vision of the future, right? It's very dystopian.
Yeah.
So like, I want to see more. Did you
ever hear his plan for Alien?
No, I don't think I recall.
Dude, his Alien movie would have been so fucking good. So, because like he's gone out and talked about what it was going to be, and basically now there's no chance it's going to happen. So he was basically going to scrub everything after Aliens. So this would be like an insert.
So no Aliens 3.
No Alien Resurrection. And then obviously like no Prometheus, no any of that shit. So the movie would pick up with an adult Newt hopping onto a ship that's going out into bug-infested territory looking for Ripley, because when she woke up on that ship, Ripley wasn't on it.
Okay.
Come on, that is a hell of a setup.
That's pretty good. I would watch that.
Just think of like his style doing Alien, because he does really like he doesn't do a whole lot of super dark shots. Even in action, he does a lot of really bright visual,
Yeah, I don't know how that would. It would definitely almost change the genre. It would be.
But so did Aliens.
Well, yeah, Aliens definitely did.
Aliens took it from horror to just action.
But it still had those like dark aesthetics and that kind of thing, like lots of shadows.
But I mean, Prometheus changed a bunch of it too.
God, we don't talk about Prometheus. Prometheus would have been good if we could just all pretend that it is it is an alternate version of that.
I liked because I forget which one of his is which. I like the first one more than the second one.
Yeah, same, because the first one, at least, while it started answering some things, it didn't just go, yeah. And I felt the second one was like, hey, audience, you've been asking for the answer to these questions for a while. Fuck you.
Well, and he very clearly just wants to tell a story about the androids. I'm like, then just do that. Stop including the aliens and just go tell a story about murder robots. It can still be set in Aliens world. It can still do all that.
I honestly,
like just stop.
Thematically, I understand, right? He's trying to do the whole like the creation and its creator.
Covenants. That's what the Prometheus and Covenant.
Oh yeah. No, I knew that. The second one is Covenant for sure. I didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of a throwaway. Oh, those people at the end of the last one? Nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she got so ripped off. She got robbed.
Literally.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was that. Well, and the worst part was that the scene was like cut off even. Like the real extended scene explains a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Like I ended up the movie going, fucking what? Also, I mean, there's always all these inconsistency nitpicks that everyone else has done, right? Like, it's almost a meme now. Oh, hey, these explorers and scientists, new planet. Let's just take our masks off. Like they did it in fucking Prometheus, and they did it again in Covenant.
In Prometheus, didn't it eat through his mask?
No. When they go inside of the building, they go, the atmosphere is breathable. Yeah, it was
stupid.
Yeah, just fucking dumb. And they did it again in Covenant. So whatever. Okay, there was something way more closely related to what I watched that you watched, and I'm actually interested because I haven't seen this, so I want to know what it's about.
Okay.
His house.
No. His house.
No.
Okay. So his house is man. It's a British haunted house movie.
Okay.
Like at its fundamental, at its core, British haunted house movie. About two immigrants from, forgive me if I fuck this up, I believe it was Kuwait. But two immigrants from Kuwait seeking asylum in the UK. They get stuck in the system living in like a group home kind of thing for about a year before they finally get the opportunity to spread out into this other house and try and build up a life in the UK.
Okay.
And of course, it's very hard. People aren't super friendly with that kind of thing. Just like here, there's a lot of people who don't appreciate that kind of thing.
They don't like immigrants.
Yep. So, there's that. So it's a same thing everywhere else. Like that's not unique.
As an immigrant, I know.
Yep. Right, and that's not unique to here. So they're stuck with people in the UK who don't want them there, aren't being taken care of, a system that's flooded and very slow, and they're just trying to survive. Meanwhile, the house they're in seems to have some sort of apparition.
Oh, Lordy Lord.
And this is another one where it's just as much about character development as it is about jump scares and monsters and everything else. It's I will say this is a horror movie made in the era of the Babadook, but that's a good thing because the Babadook is really good. Have you seen Babadook?
I have not, but I've heard of it, and I've seen a lot of the reviews.
So, and I don't think it's a huge spoiler at this point to talk about the allegory in Babadook, and honestly, I don't think it diminishes the movie to know it going in. But basically, the Babadook works as describing anxiety. The monster of the Babadook is stress and anxiety and depression and just negative feelings. That's what the Babadook is. His house works a lot like that, where their haunting is very metaphorical to their lives and their actions in their lives. Okay. And the whole thing works as a frame sort of describing not just the immigrant experience, but sort of the experience of anybody leaving home. It really even kind of works without going to a new country, kind of like your home is never truly not a part of you on some level kind of thing. There's a lot of, big messages condensed down into something like that. And again, that's me doing a very spoiler-free one. Even though this has been out for a little bit, I could do a little bit more in there, but I kind of don't want to. I will say,
after the podcast, you're gonna have to tell me, because it's not a movie that I can watch.
Sure.
And
should I just spoil it then? Okay, I'm just gonna spoil it then, because you're who I care the most about. So anybody else, spoilers from here, probably skip ahead 5-10 minutes as I babble on about his house. So go. So at the beginning of the movie, we see them escaping on a boat, and then some shit happens on the boat, and a young girl falls off, and they're trying to get the girl out. It's their daughter, right? Their daughter falls overboard and drowns. And even when they're in like the more government holding facility for people, the review board at one point looks over one and goes, "What about the girl?" And they go, "They lost her about a year ago." And they go, "Okay," and they move on. So as the movie goes on, we find out that that little girl is not their daughter. His wife got on the bus for escaping Kuwait, but it was full, and he didn't get on. So he grabbed a random girl out of the crowd and said, "Please, please, please, you can't separate my family. You can't separate my family. Please, please, please." And so some people make room and let him on the bus. But it's not his kid. It's just some little girl he took. And then that little girl drowned on their way to the UK. And so they're kind of cursed by this African witch kind of folklore. I actually really wanted to look up what that was.
Okay.
But it's like a sea witch that they are cursed by. And so it's not even the house that's haunted. It's them. They've haunted themselves by doing this horrible thing. Yeah, really cool twist. I will say, so what I was going to say, I'll be perfectly honest. I was watching this movie in a more like hangout party environment, so I was drinking, and there was a huge, probably 20 to 30 minute chunk of the third act that I just missed.
Don't remember.
No, we were just like, it was a point where like we had started a conversation about something.
Yeah,
and just
no,
it
always happens when it's not a specific viewing session.
Right,
happens all the time.
Yep. So, there is a chunk in Act 3 where they do, unfortunately, Matt Smith is in this from Doctor Who, and that's probably where he has his biggest scene, and where
you
they
said
really try.
Unfortunately?
Huh? Did I say unfortunately is in it?
You said, yeah, I think you meant to say unfortunately, period, and then you talked about Matt Smith, so it sounded like, unfortunately, Matt Smith's in it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Matt Smith's in it, and that's the chunk I missed.
Fair enough. Okay.
Like he's in some other parts, but like his biggest chunk was a huge chunk that I missed. And it sort of gives more of that trying to work with the government to fix things up kind of thing. Like, please get us out of this house or whatever. And that didn't work. Didn't see it. So, don't know how well he did. But yeah, all in all, really creepy, especially up towards the front. Super great visuals. Fun story, well acted. It's got two of the people from Lovecraft Country. If anybody was interested in Lovecraft Country, it's got the main guy and the sister.
So, give it a rating.
Man, his house probably 3.5 to 4 creepy wall vines. I have to go low because I don't know if that chunk, it could be a whole slog. It could be really good and boost it up, but when you miss 20 minutes of a film, I don't know that I can fully give it its true rating. So I'll go 3.5 to 4 while missing a 20-minute chunk that could slide that in either direction.
And we fully expect you to rewatch it and give us an updated rating soon.
I actually do plan to, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was good enough that I want to sit down and pay attention to it.
All right. Along those same lines of just like hauntings and everything, did you end up watching the newest episode of The Rookie?
I did. I actually just watched it.
Okay. We won't talk about specifics, but I want your take on the season. How do you think the season's doing?
There's a couple of things I'm glad it didn't do, and one thing I'm worried it's about to do that I will probably honestly just stop watching the show if they do.
Okay. Are we talking about something being shipped?
Yes.
Okay, so I think you and I are on the same page about this.
Yeah, hate it.
Yeah, same. I think it actually...
In fact, they've made comments on it in the past specifically stating that, like, nobody wants that to happen. And now, apparently, it's just going to happen.
I feel it cheapens the characters.
Yep, 100%.
Right? It's not just me. I'm glad. Okay.
Yep.
I feel
awful. It's such a bad call.
The characters. So.
Yep.
All right. We'll see. But
I'm very glad that it didn't become a whole season about that cartel chick and her being held captive.
Yes, I was so happy about that.
I'm glad it didn't turn out that the thief chick wasn't like the running thief for the whole season. Like the show doesn't need any of that shit.
No, we're okay doing standalone things. I think that's where it's at its best. It should be a more fantasized version of Cops, I think.
Yeah.
Minus the racism.
Yep.
Because apparently that's why Cops got taken off the air.
I mean...
Hey, look. I lived in some of the towns where they showed some of their footage, and I know that that's what it looks like. Because that's what it looks like. But anyways, I'm liking where it's going. I still like the Phelan character. I will say I'm not a fan of what they do with his love interests. I'm just like...
Okay.
The last two have just been like dry and bland and kind of all over the place. And I'm wondering if that's because the actress maybe just wasn't in it. And then the new one, I'm like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
they're not the focus, so I'm fine with it.
That's true. I just sometimes wish supporting characters got at least some TLC in the writer's room. If that makes sense. Because otherwise they just come off as tropes, is what I'm getting here.
You know what I did start that's along the same lines as our movie reviews? Started the new season of Lock and Key.
Okay, I haven't even seen the first one. The first
It's not
season.
scary.
Oh, it's okay. That might be something I can watch with the
It
wife.
maybe has some dark themes, but it's not nearly as brutal as the comic is, and not even like the comics, wait, like no, it's not nearly. It feels like a YA version of a mature comic.
Okay, fair enough. So I read the comic. Is it this exact same setup, or have they changed it?
Well, mostly the same setup, but a very different knocking of the dominoes from like the very opening.
Okay.
Here, I'll just spoil this much, and this might be an eye opener for a lot of the people who are watching the show and thinking they should read the comic. This will tell you whether you actually want to read it or not. So, in the comic, the opening scene is a couple of people break into the Locke's house. They kill the father, they rape the mother, and then the eldest son kills one of the people who is raping his mother. And then they apprehend the other one. I don't remember how. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the opening scene of that comic. The opening scene of the show, the same two guys break in. They accidentally kill the father. They try to rape the mother, and she kills one of them in front of the son.
Okay.
And while that might sound like a very minor difference, that action had such an effect on the oldest son throughout the comic. Yeah. And in this, it's more taking a toll on the mom. And actually, in season 2 kind of seems to be dropped. That toll seems to be dealt with emotionally. So it's... But again, this was less heavy, right? This wasn't as brutal as the comic. So that's why it kind of feels like a more YA version. It is still about the Locke family. There are still the magic keys. There is still a demon in the well.
Okay. It sounds like they Goosebump treated it.
Maybe not quite that bad, but yeah, it's definitely got some more kid gloves on than the comic does.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'd understand why they did it, because the comic itself, while fantastic, was kind of brutal.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
Yep. This season does seem to be pulling from the expanded lore. So they did a one-shot called Small World, which was about a key in a dollhouse, and the key and the dollhouse have worked their way, into this season.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. We introduced some new characters, but I actually looked at the comic when the first season ended. So for a 6-volume comic, the first season takes you up through volume 4.
Wow.
I think it even hits 5. Wow. Might even hit 5 if I remember right. It's been a minute since that first season ended. But...
They must have skipped so much.
Not really. Yeah, but no.
Okay. So they did what shows normally don't do, which is they played it straight and they got to the point.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, mostly.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's better for it?
I think it's different enough that I'm still interested.
Okay, so do you think they did the right thing for TV?
I think they did the right thing for TV, not the right thing for the fans, but I'll still watch it. It's not as bad as some adaptations that I've seen.
That's true, but because you always run that risk, right? You either do this, or you end up with, like, I don't know, giant blue penis on the screen for at least 30 seconds.
Oh, it was longer than 30 seconds. There's a lot of blue dick in that movie.
Oh boy, I mean that one particular shot is the one that I usually reference.
Fucking A, it's just too much.
Hey man, look, if I don't complain about boobs in movies, I don't actually complain about this. I don't
care that I was seeing a penis. I just don't know why it fit into this movie. Why did this movie?
That's my point. Exactly.
I would have said the same thing. Like, if there was a chick just walking around without her top on the whole time, I'd have been like, "Why is she topless?"
Yeah, that's how I feel. And it is. I know it's not in the horror genre, but that's one thing about the horror genre that it's like, oh hey, are you getting bored? Here's some nudity.
Yeah,
and it's like all of it. way back horror in the past, it almost seemed acceptable because whatever, dude, these movies were already trashy. Why not throw some
TNA in it?
Yeah, it was just so weird. I will say Jason X was my favorite scene of that movie, even though the movie itself is not great.
Yeah, the sleeping bags.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. It was a fantastic way to call that shit out while at the same time not, following
I would say,
steps.
Is Jason X a bad movie? Yes. Is Jason X a bad movie that you should still absolutely spend your time watching? Also, yes.
Yeah, it felt like if the Sci-Fi Channel did a Jason movie.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it felt like. And me
somehow Leprechaun in Space was better than Jason X.
Ooh, that's a series that I need to rewatch. That and Wishmaster. I haven't seen.
I've never seen Wishmaster.
I'm pretty sure isn't Wishmaster where no, it might actually be Leprechaun, but where
Jennifer Aniston
made her debut. Leprechaun. Was it Leprechaun? Okay.
Leprechaun.
I did not know that until much later after having been exposed to Jennifer Aniston as an actress that was her first role. Yeah. And Johnny Depp, Nightmare on Elm Street.
And George Clooney was Piranha? No. What was George Clooney's first movie?
I mean, it wasn't ER?
No, it wasn't ER.
Interesting. Well, I know he makes tequila now, so he's come a long way.
Yeah.
I like Clooney.
I also like Clooney.
For me, he kind of came out of nowhere because I never saw ER. So the first time I was exposed to Clooney was Ocean's 11. But even that's been a while, right?
Yeah. Oh, why is this so difficult to find? You type in, what's George Clooney's first movie? It's like, here's every movie George Clooney's been in, and not in any particular order. Okay.
And they're off. Grizzly 2 Revenge, Riptide, Street Hawk, and then ER.
Maybe I'm thinking of Riptide. One of those is a bad horror movie.
Grizzly 2 Revenge doesn't sound like a bad movie.
It might be that one.
Yeah, Grizzly 2 Revenge. The poster looks like it was done by cardboard cutouts instead of any sort of photo digital or anything like that. I'm pretty sure this was some sort of, it didn't even Photoshop. They just
nice.
Hold on. I will bring this picture for the audience. Courtesy of IMDb. That is the poster for Grizzly 2 Revenge, George Clooney's first film with Laura Dern and Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
Those three are the top billed actors of Grizzly 2 Revenge. Not to be confused with Grizzly 1, not Revenge. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that one's just called Grizzly. I always feel weird when they give a tagline to the first one in a series. I'm always like, what? We needed to know more? Is it not enough?
Okay, so those do not have the credits I was thinking of because he went largely uncredited in them. Okay. But his first two movies were in fact Return to Horror High and Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't a top build in those. He was just
he was just some asshole. I think he's main cast, but main cast who gets killed. He hangs out with the main cast, but he does nobody gives a shit.
He's main cast adjacent.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
And then Tom Hanks's first one. I'm reminded because I do have a list in front of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Tom Hanks.
But he was in a horror movie about the dangers of playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, was it the first Dungeons and Dragons movie?
It's not called Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, he does drugs and kills a homeless man because of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, so what did he do first? Did he do drugs first, or did he play Dungeons and Dragons first?
Played Dungeons and Dragons, and that led him
Oh, so
he was an honor student,
like
man.
he got possessed or some shit.
He got obsessed with it, and he needed to live in his fantasy world. He did the drugs so he could just escape into his fantasy world. And
what the fuck do y'all normies think we do during D&D?
What is the name of this movie? Tom Hanks D&D movie.
This kind of reminds me
Mazes and Monsters from 1982. Made for television drama.
I have heard about this. It's a made for TV movie. Yeah.
Yes.
I have heard of this. This kind of reminds me of I don't know, say what you want about the song or the band, but do you remember song got pretty popular, Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus?
Yeah.
So apparently that song was that whole thing started because of the Satanic Panic in the UK. Because apparently I didn't know this, but the band is from the UK, I believe. And
like Wheatus.
Yeah, right. And apparently that song went through some crazy transitions to the point where the original masters were lost. And they had to completely recreate it. Like recently within the last 5 years, 5-6 years. And some of the sound effects, they were like, I don't know what those were. So there's like this weird like phone filter sound effect that they had to like try and find because nobody knew what the fuck it was here X amount of years later. But it was the whole Teenage Dirtbag thing was because that's what they were being called, folks that like listen to AC/DC or all that. So that's kind of where it came from, and it was inspired by the Satanic Panic that the UK had. For those who don't know what that is the US had a very similar thing where there was a big scare that like satanic cults were committing all these like crimes against children and all that kind of stuff. And that also turned into a lot of the censorship for media or deplorable books and films and all that you shouldn't watch in this 70s or whenever, right? I just thought it was hilarious and fascinating because I just thought it was a cheesy song. I sing it whenever it comes on, though. Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus comes on. I sing it. It's catchy.
See, that whole Satanic Panic thing got real ridiculous real quick. And it's not dead. When I was in like high...
I was going to say, it's like it's, in certain cases, it turned into like a modern version of the Salem witch trials with people in court saying things. Like, it was crazy. It was also, I guess it was kind of good because I think it was around the same time where courts finally decided, like, possession, that's not a legit defense anymore. Like, we're not doing this anymore.
There was when I was in like high school, like late high school, like junior, senior year, there was a lady who like stopped my mom at work to make sure that she wasn't going to take us to go see the Harry Potter films because of how dark and evil they were and how they would corrupt our souls. And I'm like, first of all, I'm in high school and I do drugs. And like, secondly, I watch way worse shit than Harry Potter.
You, sir, forget yourself. In high school, I was amongst those groups that used to say that things like Harry Potter and Goosebumps and...
I know you were, but you suck.
And any other TV things were just, bad. Fascinatingly, my mother still is very uncomfortable with the idea of Halloween, as open-minded as she has become. So, it's hilarious.
What like, Deus de Muertos, or what the fuck ever.
But again, she's not your straight up... okay, little disclaimer. Folks in Mexico, while they are... it's a mix of traditions. Some of them come from the Catholic Church that came over and told everybody convert or die, with the conquistadors and that whole thing. And a mix of almost a local witchcraft kind of thing. So Dia de los Muertos is more akin to that side of things and the Santeria kind of that
is there are there lots of people in Mexico who are like, we don't do this shit?
Yes, the less traditional, so basically any of the non strictly Catholic folks and even the very strict Catholic they're not down with that kind of stuff anymore, as far as I understand it. But it is a huge part of the like culture. But it's just not as followed. It just seems it's like old customs. The newer generations don't follow the traditions of going to the graves and leaving food or any of the actual ritualistic stuff. They participate in the fake like parties and all the Halloween craze. That's kind of where I fall now with Halloween. It's like, look, yeah, maybe at one point, even let's say everything you believe is true about this, like that's not it anymore. It's all commercialized. It's basically like Valentine's Day, but for spooky shit.
Yeah. I hate Halloween's a goddamn harvest holiday. We don't harvest shit.
I love Halloween. Of course we harvest shit. We harvest goodwill and booze in my belly. What? I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. I'm not sorry. I do not apologize. As I am still wearing my Halloween Hero Run medal. Yeah.
I was having to explain to people, because people at work, people are always so shocked when they find out that I'm not into Halloween. Because I like horror movies.
Because you're an alt kid, asshole.
Well, and like I was like, oh, it's the one time of year. And I'm like, no, it's not. I just do this all the time.
Why can't I just beat me whenever?
That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm just fucking spooky.
You're like one of the Addams family.
Me and my wife keep talking about painting our house, and we just watched the new Addams Family, and I'm like, we should just do gray and
just
black.
Started it this morning. I'm not hating
the animated
it so
one?
far. Yeah.
It's really good.
I didn't realize it was that high profile. The opening song is done by Christina Aguilera.
Dude, the whole voice cast is famous people.
Clearly I didn't know about that. I started watching it this morning, and I'm recognizing voices, and I'm like,
it's fucking Poe Dameron, Charlize Theron, fucking Hit Girl, Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll is Fester.
Yeah, but isn't Nick Kroll just everything nowadays? With now that he's shown that he can do all kinds of crazy voices.
He's not quite everything, but yeah, he is. He's in a lot.
He's in a lot.
And then Pugsley is a Finn Wolfhard, Wolfface.
No,
from Stranger Things.
I know this now.
It's really good. The movie's shockingly good, and the new one just came out too.
I will say that Lurch got robbed, but maybe that's just because I never knew his background.
I don't know if he had much of a background.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and this gives it a little bit more, but I'm like, I wish he was cooler.
My only, I just don't get why they went with such an ugly look for Gomez, but other than that, I love all the designs.
Yeah,
Gomez is the only design I'm just not feeling.
Well, exactly. I always thought Gomez was...
Can you put up an Addams Family picture just of the new one, just so people can see what we're talking about? Sorry.
Yeah. I felt that Gomez was always supposed to be like a debonair Spaniard.
Yes! Yeah, he was supposed to be like handsome and suave, you know?
Yeah, I almost... He was supposed to be Pierce Brosnan, but spooky. I always felt.
Yeah, I think the perfect casting was Raul Julia.
Honestly, a modern retake of this would be Antonio Banderas.
Well, honestly, even the guy playing him, though, I always forget his name. The dude who played Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars movies, regardless of how you feel about him. So he's doing the voice. I think he actually looks the part. And why wouldn't you model it off of him? So that's him on the left in the blue suit. I don't get why they went with such a squat and doofy look for him. I don't get it.
He looks like what I think when I think a neck beard.
Yeah, or even like the dude who played Igor in Young Frankenstein.
Okay, yeah.
He's just this weird chubby bug-eyed thing, and I just don't understand that call. Everyone else looks great.
Yeah, I'm good with everything except his look. Yeah, I agree. Fester, like, I think it's fucking hilarious. That the opening scene with him and Thing, just
he's got a few more scenes that fucking killed me and my wife.
Yeah, it's so far it's good. But anyways,
will your wife watch this or no? Is this too much?
I don't know. Come on. In the movie theater, Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
That movie was not spooky at all.
No.
Again, I'm not joking. Look, this isn't
she hasn't built up any callus to it whatsoever.
Well, not really. It's just, the problem isn't necessarily when she's watching it. Just Jesus Christ.
It's getting in her head afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Look,
yeah.
I am not the your stereotypical bro that's going to sit here and complain about his wife. No, she is wonderful. But legitimately, I am not lying when we cannot watch anything scary.
Yeah. No, it's just some people just don't
they don't
certain
do that.
Things.
They're not into it.
And yeah, some folks don't do horror. And his wife, unfortunately for me and him as horror fans, his wife's just not into horror.
So a lot of the watching that I do, as I've mentioned here before, is all done on my own time while I'm working out or in the background while I'm doing something or she's doing something. But yes, as like the problem isn't just that it's not just horror genre, it's scary things. So like even if it's not, even certain thrillers are a little much. If they involve like a creature.
What's the old the Mrs. Doubtfire when he's trying on all the different faces? I don't know. I think this would be too much for them. that's kind of how I think about your wife sometimes. This and you ruin the whole thing.
But yeah, kind of like that. But it's not a problem. We watch different stuff. But yeah, the new Addams Family's looking good, and we totally got completely off here. So I'm gonna do my
it's the current picture. We can still talk about it as long as we're up to whatever the current picture is.
I'm glad that we've spent this much time doing what we're doing, because the one thing that I'm gonna talk about next will finish us off, and it doesn't need to be talked about that long. Hey, did you hear that the McRib is back?
Oh God.
Look at this. Look at this picture of a riblet in the middle of this beautiful bun with pickles and onions and smothered in barbecue sauce. Okay, I have legitimately not had a McRib in over 10 years at this point, because I'd heard a lot about it. The Simpsons did a parody of it, so of course it was popular, and it disappears for years. And then once, when I was like in high school, it was either high school or right after those early adulthood years, I'm not that fucking old anyways, but it's just been at least 10 years since I've had one. It wasn't great. And I stand by what I said back then. I'll say it again. It tastes like the rib MRE meal inside of a bun with onions and pickles. So did I like it today? No, not really.
Did you even finish it?
I did.
Ugh.
But this is the things that I do for this podcast. Yeah, it still tasted like they took a bunch of meat with bones included, ground it all up and made it into some sort of meat patty.
This is what killed me about that thing, because I've had ground meat assembled into a patty.
That's why I also said bone.
I don't know what you bit into, but the last time I had a McRib, it had the consistency of a very thick meat jello.
That's what I'm trying to get to. It was almost like they gave it the chicken nugget treatment, but it didn't work out on this one because they didn't bread it. They should have breaded it. It's not the same.
It's
like meat puree that's been coagulated and put in between buns.
There's no firmness. Yeah. Meat should have some amount of like you have to try and bite through the meat, and the McRib is just all give. It's like a paste that's just held its form.
If there was, this is what I would imagine Soylent Green would taste like, and feel like as you're biting into it.
It's been years, and that texture still haunts me. I took one bite of the McRib, gagged so hard I almost threw up, and went back in and demanded my money back. I was not going to eat that.
So, it is a delicious pork rib in the middle of a scrumptious sandwich. No, it's not. This is what it looks like in real life. Take that, you sons of bitches. That is actually what I ate today. The onions look like they were the outside of the onions that you usually throw away because it's got too much of the peel. It's just or you use it for like soup and broth. They threw that in as a premium ingredient. The bun was. It's a bun. It was a McDonald's bun. It was fine. Pickles. The sauce was so fucking tangy, it immediately gave me heartburn. So no, I don't recommend it. And yeah, maybe they shouldn't bring this one back. This isn't the goddamn Shamrock Shakes. They're vile.
Give the McRib a rating.
Okay. I would give this a 2. No, actually, I would give this a 4. MRE instances where I was backed up for 4 days and couldn't poop, out of 5 MRE eating instances where I was backed up and couldn't poop for days.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's
never again.
Not great.
Never again.
Yeah, not great. But Carl's Jr., if you ever want to bring back that sirloin steak sandwich, I miss it. I love it. It was awesome. It was literally a strip of sirloin steak in the middle of a French bun with onion rings and a little bit of like that cowboy barbecue sauce that Carl's Jr. does real well. It was delicious, and I miss it, and I'm sad that you don't bring it back. Also, I haven't seen that many Carl's Jr. commercials anymore. I just feel like they've lost their commercial game, because everybody else, they're on buses, they're in apps, they're on YouTube videos.
You know what it is? Carl's Jr. don't need no advertising. Get out.
That's true. Like, it's like the root beer people. There's 2 major companies, and they're okay with just fighting over that little piece of the market. So, agreed. Okay, on that, final words, and please don't throw up.
I mean, if we're making fast food requests, BK, where are them chicken fries? Those things were killer.
Oh, those are regional. I found out.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, there was a Burger King, and it was either in or around Idaho that had them. And by the way, best Gomez Raul Julia. I'm just gonna say that, like, he killed it.
Yeah,
but then again, I also feel like he was the best part of Street Fighter.
So. Like being said in chat, though, the original show is fantastic, and
yes,
John Aston is fantastic. Is it John Aston?
Oh yeah,
John Aston.
When I was a kid, I never understood the Addams Family. I didn't get it, but there was always something that attracted me to it. It was a little spooky. They were a little weird, so I was into it.
Yeah.
But I never understood why they were that way. Watching
Carolyn Jones as Morticia. That's right.
No, that's true. Fantastic too. Yeah. Anyways,
did you see Rob Zombie's pictures for the Munsters?
No, are they out?
Just a couple of set photos.
Okay.
Are you pulling those up right now?
I am. Tell me about it.
That's what Rob Zombie's doing. That's only partially true, chat. It's probably. He said John Aston is Sean Astin's dad. They're pretty sure that that's his dad, but John Aston's mom was Hori. And his father could have been one of many people, but John Aston is the one who raised him. It's why he took John Aston's last name, and he used to call him Papa Gomez. It's very sweet. Rob Zombie is doing a Munsters movie. There's a McRib over the Munsters movie currently.
Give me 1 second. That's the only way. I got to get rid of that.
Cheryl Moon Zombie is going to be playing Lily. And then I can't remember the guy's name, but if you saw 13, he's one of the main dudes in Rob Zombie's movie 13, and he's going to be Herman Munster.
Okay.
We'll just go slightly extended, and I'll pull it up really quick, and we will end on that. All right, do a quick fill.
Like, are you? Is there a different photo that you'd like me to pull up?
No, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure there's like a cast up.
How do you feel about this? Because so let me frame this. I have often heard specifically people say that zombies movies are very middle of the road, and I didn't understand that. And I've heard it from more than one person.
I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. I actually just rewatched House of a Thousand Corpses on Saturday.
How does it hold up to someone who's a fan of these things?
I still really enjoy it because of what an homage it is to things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes. And at the time it came out, like Hostel wasn't quite out yet, so the life hadn't been breathed back into that kind of just raw murder horror kind of thing. So I give a lot of credit to that. The next movies kind of pull in Aliens, and they become a little bit more action horrors than horrors. And I appreciate those. But he also has things like Salem was kind of terrible.
And then I did watch his Halloween remake, and it wasn't bad, but I honestly wouldn't watch it again.
So it's Jeff Daniel Phillips as Herman, Sherry Moon Zombie as Lily, and Dan Roebuck as Grandpa Munster.
Do you not know that the names are on the screen?
Oh, are they on there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just very, very small. I can't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Even in the preview, I understand that it looks a little small, but I was like, wait, they're literally sitting in their own chairs. But yeah, these are the folks. I like the picture. It's a well-framed picture, but more often than not, I try not to look at a lot of the pre-production images because it has nothing to do with what it's going to look like. The only thing you can really look is the costumes, and yeah, okay. So far, have they cast the pretty one yet?
It doesn't. I did not see anything for Eddie Munster, and I did not see anything for cousin Normie.
As long as they don't pick like Pete Davidson to do fucking Eddie Munster.
I'm so much more in if Pete Davidson is Eddie Munster in the little shorts and everything. I'm so into this. So I'm not going to see.
I know, but you're a fan of Pete Davidson. I am not. It's okay. But
on that note,
I feel like here we go. He's dating a Kardashian now, so I feel like he's getting what he deserves. What?
Wherever you put your penis is wherever you put your penis.
Oh,
I don't care. Just don't put it in me.
Unless you pay him $1 million first. We figured out what his price was.
Yeah, no, $1 million will probably do it though.
Yeah, you think Pete Davidson is small down there? Because we've always said it had to be a small dude. I just don't want to be uncomfortable.
All right, on that note,
bye.